Welcome to Real Talk with Star Scorpio, Season 1, Episode 6. If you haven't seen Episode 5, Fitness Talk with Jake Porterlees, check it out on my YouTube page. If you rather listen to the audio version, you can find it on Anchor, Amazon Music, or Spotify. Now, for this episode, DJ Talk, I have the pleasure of sitting down with a longtime friend, amazing DJ, and all-around caring person, DJ Che La Soul. Let's bring him in. Welcome to Real Talk with Star Scorpio. Che, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Nice to see you, brother. So first thing, Che, I have to shout out DJ Soundwave, aka Dizzy. He was the first DJ, that I knew in Toronto, 88.1 CKLN hip hop, and you know him, of course, right?
Yep, Dizzy D.
Yes. Second thing, Che, this interview is dedicated to all of our Donview Junior High people.
Props.
Yes, they know who they are. And a while back, you posted a picture on your Instagram stories of our basketball team.
Yep.
So I had to go in my yearbooks and find the pictures so I can show the people, because you and I are beside each other. We're the shortest ones of the team.
Yep.
But it's a crazy picture. Memories, man.
Yeah,
but
Don sent me that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first question I have for you is, do you, like me, do you have all your yearbooks from school?
I do have them. I just don't know where they are, obviously, right now. They're in the garage somewhere. I know that, but I do have them. I absolutely do.
Che, I know you're representing Canada, but let the people know what other country you're repping. So what's your background?
My father, as some of you may know, is a Chinese Trinidadian. So his father immigrated to Trinidad from China, like a true Chinese. And then his mother was everything under the sun. She was East Indian, South American, what they call Arawak.
Yes.
Indian of the Caribbean. So she was very mixed up like myself. That is my father's side. Mm-hmm. And then my mother is also indigenous, Mi'kmaq tribe from the East Coast. And she's also Scotian, right? She grew up in East Preston, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. So she's black as well, sorry. And indigenous, right? So a very big mix-up, right?
Mix-up, yeah. That's something I didn't know. After high school, we ran in different circles. We lost touch. And, we didn't have social media.
Yes.
Our mutual friend, Dane, back in the club days in the 90s, said you were DJing at a club that we were going to. And I was shocked. So let me know how it all started and why it started.
Well, oddly enough, it started back in Victoria Park, right?
Okay.
It would have been my man Curry, who we all know.
Yes.
And Simon, right? Greg
yes.
Simon. The three of us, including my man Zubair, we got into music early. And, literally starting on a direct drive turntable, basically, no pitch control, nothing. The old realistic mixers and the tape deck, right? And that's how we started. And from there, it was history, you know what I mean? When we scraped up a little bit of money to go purchase some records, we would, you know what I mean? And we inherited little pieces of equipment here and there. And it became quite addictive, as anyone that's into DJing and music knows, you know what I mean? It's just about getting that next record, right?
Right.
The next track, that next song, that next remix. It was just like, that's where all my money was being spent, right?
Okay.
And it started from VP, very young age.
Yeah, so Victoria Park High School, that was after Donview.
Yeah, so when I moved to Scarborough, I went to Sir Johnny Mack for a year. I went to Leacock for a year. I even did some summer school courses at Lamoureux. Anyways, when I moved up to Warden and Finch area in Scarborough, my neighbor was also into DJing. So we kind of just mishmashed together. And, it's always better to have another partner or a series or, a couple guys at least to buy records, right? So I would buy all the I would buy all the R&B, old school stuff. Okay. And he would buy just straight hip hop.
Okay.
And then we got into reggae through one of our other friends as well. Oddly enough, through a friend whose name is Dane Clark.
Oh my God.
I refer to him as Dane Clark with an E, right? Because he has
Yeah,
an E
yeah.
on the end of his Clark. Um, and yeah, it's just, two of my best friends in my life are both named Dane Clark, right?
Yeah, crazy, crazy. So yeah, interesting, man. But what DJs did you draw inspiration from back in the days? Who did you like back in the days?
uh, Back in the day, I mean, it would have been at the time when we first started, it would
Yeah.
have been, you're looking at Scott LaRock, you're looking at Marley Marl, you're looking at those DJs slash producers that you're playing their records.
Mhm.
As we got into the clubs and everything like that, it was guys like Baby Blue Sound Crew,
Right.
DJ Chief, MC Kid Cut, as you might know
Yeah.
now, who is still a DJ. He's out here on Twitch DJing as well.
Mhm.
Guys like Jester, starting from scratch. There were so many. Lindo P. A lot of these guys. Those are the guys I was looking up to at the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're naming all the Toronto cats, man. Nice.
Yep. Yep.
So do you have a favorite genre of music to spin? Because I know you spin everything, but do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I love my R&B, man. I love my R&B, and that kind of spans across like 80s R&B, 90s R&B. You know, I'm just into that kind of that warm vibe. And I mean,
Yeah.
not to say I don't play hip hop, but if you ask me what my favorite thing is to play,
Yeah.
it's that. I'm a lover. You know what I mean? So I love my R&B.
Nice, nice. For some reason, I thought Soca was gonna be in there too, man.
Soca's up there. Soca's up there. But you
Yeah.
asked me one. You asked me one favorite, right? So I can get down with R&B at all times. At all
Yeah.
times. You know what I mean? Sometimes I gotta be in a certain mood for soca. And I
Yeah, I
gotta
guess
loosen up the waistline too.
I guess Caravana time, that's when you really feel it though, when
Oh
you
yeah,
when you
yeah.
play out, right?
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Caravana, a big Toronto event that
Yeah.
didn't happen for a couple years, right?
Yeah, it hasn't happened for a while. You know, we still
COVID.
try and keep it alive somehow.
Yeah.
I did I do an annual like Friday birthday party for my friend's wife, which is always nice. So, we ran it last year,
Yeah.
keeping the numbers, within the guidelines, of course.
Mhm.
The year before though, that was the first year we missed that barbecue basically.
Okay.
In about 7-8 years, I guess, right? Due to
Oh,
COVID, right?
yeah.
So yeah, it's been
Crazy,
different. It's
man.
been different for sure, man.
Yeah, I want to touch on that a little later, man. So I have a question from another mutual friend, and he happens to be a DJ, Kevin B.
Yes,
And this
sir.
is a question I wanted to ask myself. How do you think the move from vinyl to the digital medium has affected the art form of DJing?
It's kind of given everybody an opportunity to try it out at least. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, I myself, because I was raising a family very young,
Yeah.
I got out of DJing basically around the time where CDs were being used.
Okay.
And I took some time off, never really thinking I'd get back into it. But I did when Serato came out. So once you're able to kind of flip all of your vinyl, your analog files into MP3, I kind of relate it to like running a marathon, right? And
Mhm.
then you take a little side street somewhere, get in a taxi, he takes you up, a couple miles and then drops you off, in
Yeah,
the middle of the marathon again, right? It's a bit of a cheat code, is what I'm saying,
I get it.
right?
Mhm.
So I almost took off the whole 2000s, right? And got
Mhm.
back into it late, like 2009.
Wow. Okay.
So I never really had to. I did start to transfer some of that vinyl over digitally
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm.
But with sharing music and everything like that, you find a couple guys that you're comfortable with and they have some tracks. They need some hip hop, I have some reggae, whatever, and you start trading some of your library and building it up, right?
Right.
So that's how I got back into it. It's given everyone like the opportunity. So if you never played on vinyl, um, you could go out and belong to a couple record pools for $25 a month type of
Mhm.
thing, unlimited downloads, and you could literally start to build yourself a library. And a lot of the controllers out there are they're pretty user friendly. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's why you have so many DJs out there, right? There's a lot of competition out there right now. which is also the reason I still like to play off of the 1200s, right?
Right.
Uh, I used to travel with these things, but doing like corporate gigs and in and out all the time, they're just way too heavy, right?
Yeah.
So I eventually went and got a controller myself, right? Which is real easy. It's just sitting over there. Actually, it's just it's just easy. It's like a suitcase.
Right.
Just in and out of gigs real quickly, right? So that's the way the technology has pretty much gone, and it's made it feasible for a lot of people who might have just been interested and never thought they'd ever have a chance to DJ. Like it's very it's affordable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a controller, you could pay anywhere from $300 to like $5,000, right? It all depends what you're looking for. So, but it gives everyone an opportunity to actually try and take up this hobby that is I love to death, right? So
Yeah, man. Gives everyone that opportunity, and there's a lot of room for everyone in the market. Like
yeah,
any industry, any profession, there's always room for more people, right?
absolutely. I mean, I've never seen a time where like so many restaurants want DJs and background music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jack Astor's. I played. Well, you came to visit me at Jack Astor's, right? Like that. I did that every Thursday for a straight year, and who would have ever thought, they'd want a DJ on a Thursday night, from 7 till 1 in the morning type of thing, right? So,
Yeah. I was gonna actually ask you that later. So perfect time. Before COVID hit, there's a lot of questions I want to ask around this COVID and
right.
lockdown pandemic stuff when it comes to DJing. But before COVID, where were you DJing? And how
Um,
often were you booked at different places?
so they have a lot of DJ companies out there, and getting back into it, that's kind of where I landed. The only problem with a lot of the DJ companies is there's a standard going rate, right?
Okay.
Um, and a DJ of my experience, I know I'm worth more, right?
Okay.
So I made the decision to just do my own thing, and I really have taken DJing as it has come for me. I haven't
Okay.
been out there hustling, but I've done all right. With that being said, I ended up doing a lot of like restaurants and lounges downtown Toronto
Mhm.
because they've built up Queen Street West, King Street West, all these different places. So some of the higher end restaurants I ended up in, and I'd fill in for some bigger DJs who well, I won't mention, but
Mhm.
there's guys that I've grown up with, like kind of like in almost being mentored by them, right?
Okay.
Um, and they can trust me. So they would double book themselves, right?
Okay.
Essentially. And then they'd say, you know what, Shay, I need you to fill in this place, da 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 da. And, because in the world of DJing, like, say I book something for November right now,
Okay.
and like a week before that date, someone else offers me something better, you know, I'm going to go to that owner and say, look, I can't, something else has come up, a big opportunity, but I have someone that I trust that I know you're going to love. I'm gonna fill him in for this spot. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
happens quite often in the DJ world, and there's a lot of DJ friends that I have that, would trust me to take on some of those gigs, right? And
Yeah.
vice versa. I'd give business back to them when things came up as well. So it works, right?
Yeah. You,
Um,
you you actually helped me out. A friend of mine was looking for a DJ for her daughter's. I think it was Sweet 16,
right,
and I think it was DJ Elegance
right.
that you recommended to
Yes,
me.
yes.
Yeah. But
Good,
yeah.
good. So that all worked out.
Yeah, I don't know if she actually used them,
Right,
but
right, right.
yeah, it was a good reference. I had a conversation with them and linked them up, but
Yep, real cool
I
guy.
see how it works. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Hmm.
absolutely. So yeah,
So
that's where I was mainly. I was doing the odd party. I haven't really been in the big club scene for quite some time. I was throwing a couple of my own parties here and there. Like I had this one big one out in Kingston that I would do every year. But other than that, I do one-off parties here or there, right?
yeah.
But no weekly club gigs. You know what I mean? A lot of
Okay.
corporate stuff, a lot of like even retail promo stuff I'd be inside stores doing, here and there.
Okay.
Um, the weddings, I like to do the type of weddings that I like to do. If I'm going to be playing the music I love to play, then fine. But I've done country weddings,
Wow. Wait.
which to me is not, I mean, they're fun, but they're not what I'm exactly looking for. And that's more so when I was working for some of the DJ companies per se,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. So they book you, you're
Yeah,
saying, like they say, I got a gig for you, or they
yeah,
offer it
yeah.
to you?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
They find all the work, and then basically they send you out. They give you the equipment and everything. It's a lot of work. I mean, you're setting up stuff. You're setting up sometimes two different sets, for one for the ceremony, and
Yeah.
then one for the reception, right? And you're dressed up and you're sweating. It's
Yeah.
summertime,
Yeah.
outdoor weddings, all sorts of weddings, right?
Yeah.
Indoor weddings. So it's a lot of work, and that's why I chose to do it my way. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like I say, it's I make sure I use my time wisely.
Yeah.
Even Elegance used to tell me this. He goes, Che, I'm trying to work less and get paid more, right?
Work
As
hard,
opposed
work
to,
smarter, man, not
yeah,
harder.
yeah,
Mhm.
work for less money and work more gigs. No, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to do that, right? So I'm very picky and choosy with what I do, right?
Yeah.
So
Yo, here's a question for you, because you said about DJing outside, inside. So I had a question because I just want to know about any horror stories, man. So equipment failure. So if you're outside, the rain might come or whatever
yeah,
type of
yeah.
season it is, but has there been any time where you had equipment failure in a big show?
Um, once again, weddings would be the scariest. And why I
Mhm.
say that is because these people are depending on you for their big day. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And you ever see on a happy bride? It's not a pretty picture. I'm telling you, it's not.
It's
So
true.
having all that pressure on you,
Yeah.
like my heart has been racing before, just because of simple things, like something with the microphone wasn't working,
Yeah.
or there's no batteries. The batteries were dead. Something, right?
Mhm.
And I can't like name, nothing major has ever happened or failed. I might have
Okay.
had a speaker, like if I had a system that had two speakers and only one was working, the other one had blown,
Yeah.
maybe the cone on it had gone or something.
Mhm.
That's probably the extent. Like, knock on wood, I've been pretty fortunate in terms of like weddings and corporates not to have anything major. But there's always issues setting up. Just something, mixing boards, something's not going right, and you've done this 1,000 times. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
And it's working under that pressure. Like, literally, you start sweating,
Yeah, I know.
your heart's rate. You're looking at the clock. Oh shit! Like, you know, they're coming in. I got to introduce the guests or whatever, the wedding party and this and that, and you're just like, you just kind of really have to just calm yourself down and be like, okay, let's just go through this step by step again, like almost reset yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it usually has worked out for myself, right? So,
So,
but no major mishaps, thank God, right?
yeah, so you know how to troubleshoot the issue.
Yeah,
Yo,
that's the
so
thing.
so that's the thing, the timing, you have to get there on time too. Make sure you have that buffer
Yeah,
to set up, right? I
yeah,
guess.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
check this out, Jay, just quickly. I know you mean about weddings. So, Tasha, my wife, and I, we had the cake business for years.
Right.
I remember we had a wedding to deliver a cake to Atlantis. Remember on Ontario
Yeah,
Place,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
We got the time wrong. It was supposed to be, say, 7, right? And we left on, like, say it was 7,
Right.
but we left because we were thinking it was 8.
Right.
So we thought we had all this time and all this. The wedding planner called us and said, you're supposed to be here. You don't even know how that feels, Jay, man,
Oh yeah.
because just like you said, this is a wedding. It's very important to these people,
Yep.
right? So, and the DVP, traffic on a Saturday, right?
Yep.
But when we got there, there was a curtain separating everyone dancing and everything. So we got to set up on time
Right.
where no one saw what was going on and all that stuff because they were going to do the cutting later.
Okay.
So I know what you mean, man. I'd rather
It's
stay
a lot
away
of
from that.
pressure. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure,
A
man.
lot of pressure, man. Yo, check this out, man. I really like your name. Very creative. Did it spawn from one of our favorite rap groups in the 80s?
Absolutely, absolutely. I actually I went through a couple names. So early 90s, right?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, mid 90s when I was actually in the club DJing.
Mm-hmm.
Um it used to be K9, which
Okay.
essentially is my initials, CAY.
Okay.
right? And 9. It sounded kind of cool at the time, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and I kept that until I became a father. I'm a father of 3 now, doing the family thing. And
Yes.
when I got back into DJing in the late 2000s, right? Because I had taken off basically the whole 2000s. Um, I was like, yeah, as a father, you can't have a name K9 as your DJ name, right? So I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
said, let's go with DJ Che, right?
Okay, okay.
Just simple,
Yeah,
very very corporate like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
DJ Che, like DJ Peter. Hey.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was a little dry still, right? So I was
yeah.
like, nah, I gotta come up with something. And as you know, yeah, De La Soul is probably one of our favorite hip hop bands, right? So I've always liked that sound, De La Soul, De La Soul. It just kind of flows off your tongue, right? So I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, man, let's put Che instead of the day, and we got Che La Soul, you know?
Man, that was so fitting. Amazing,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I do get quite a bit of compliments on the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Young people don't get it, but
I know. The gap, man. The gap.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Che, man, when COVID hit, a lot of DJs went to the Instagram and Facebook platforms
Yes,
to do the lives. And
yes.
I gotta thank you, man. I'm getting a little teary-eyed here, man, because you helped Tasha and I, my wife, get through some tough times when we were locked down, the pandemic,
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
with Easy Like Sunday Mornings. Tell me
Yes.
how it started.
Uh basically, I had just been, and I'll mention his name, DJ Carlos, notorious DJ Carlos, who is
Hmm.
a very instrumental Toronto DJ who used to do a legendary party called Studio 69.
Okay.
That's where a lot of once we got the Toronto Raptors, that's where a lot of the NBA stars were partying, all
Okay.
his parties. I had opportunity to play a couple parties of his as he had just brought back Studio 69 reunion.
Okay.
Um, so I had just gotten into some of these parties with him through a mutual friend, right? We became friends.
Hmm.
And that was right before the pandemic hit, right?
Okay.
So at that time, you know, people are scrambling at this point to find something to do during lockdown, right?
Hmm.
Um, and there ain't nothing going on. So DJs started DJing on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool, but it's not for everyone
Right.
because you're kind of coming out of your comfort zone. You're used to seeing a crowd of some sort in front of you, and
Hmm.
now all you're actually looking at is a screen, right? Which is
Yep.
your phone, and you see names and handles pop up like little bubbles, and it's just a weird feeling and transition from going from a live venue
Hmm.
to this camera like sitting 5 feet away from your face. It can be uncomfortable for some, as myself.
Hmm.
So I saw these DJs doing this, and Carlos was like, "Che, man, you got to get on. You got to get on." I was like, "Nah, it's not for me. You're inviting people into your own personal space as well. That's a thing that I just wasn't comfortable with yet,
Right.
and I didn't really see any reason to go on. Right? It's not like we were being paid or anything, right?
Hmm.
Um, but more and more people started going on, and I started tuning into other people's shows,
Hmm.
and I was probably almost a month behind everyone else that was jumping on at the time.
Okay.
Um, and a lot of major Toronto DJs did not jump on,
Hmm.
right? For a long time, for a very long time, um, for different reasons, right?
Okay.
Uh, but when I jumped on, Carlos was in my ear, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it one day. And sure enough, it was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching starting from scratch,
Okay.
do his stream on IG, and I was just like, he kind of put me in this mood, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go and play some music tomorrow morning. I'm just gonna do like a pop up, like no one's even gonna know, right? So
Right.
I literally, it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning or so. I just put this little flyer together, just a little writing, posted it in my stories, and said DJ Chayla Soul. I think I started it at 10:30 a.m. With Easy Like Sunday Morning. Right?
Yeah.
There's two things I've always wanted were a quiet storm show
Okay.
like WBLK back in the day.
Yes. Yes.
Always wanted to do something or host something like that, and I've always loved to play just like soul music and stuff that really takes me back to when I was young. Cleaning the
Mhm.
house, things like that, doing your chores
Yeah.
on the weekends and stuff like that, with music playing in the back that your parents are playing, right? So
Yeah.
that's where the whole easy like Sunday morning idea came from.
Okay.
Um, and Lionel Richie is a great artist, and
Mhm.
I've always loved the Commodores as well. That song just kind of it's one of those, it's a timeless song.
Yeah,
It
man.
just hits you. You can't not sing that song when it's played. You know what I mean? Everyone knows every single lyric in it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it all started, right? And then of
Mhm.
course from IG, everyone transitioned. As we were saying at the time, they
Yes.
switched to Twitch.
This is what I want to know. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So IG had licensing issues for the DJs. So if you played anything mainstream, basically, right?
Hmm.
It's almost like they have a Shazam, right?
Yep.
Going, and if it picks up that mainstream song, it
It
just cancels your stream. It cuts you off right
cuts
away.
you. Yeah.
So there's a couple platforms out there that were not, and Twitch was one of them. Which is now Twitch is not new by any
Hmm.
stretch of the imagination. It's a platform that's been out there for a very long time for gamers,
Okay.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
gaming
Hmm.
streamers, right?
Hmm.
And it's a huge market.
Hmm.
Um, and I think if I'm not mistaken, like DJs now at this time are only taking up a very small percentile of that whole Twitch platform, right?
Mm.
Imagine that, when you got big DJs out there, you got DJ Jazzy Jeff starting from scratch, like some real big icons out there, right, in
Yeah.
Twitch land. Um, but Twitch, you have the ability to play your music clean, right,
Hmm.
live, and what those bots they do is they mute you afterwards. That's the way they deal with their licensing agreement, right?
Okay.
So as we're playing live, we could play, would never get cut off.
Hmm.
Um, After you end your stream, you could download what you just recorded,
Hmm.
but you gotta do it within a certain frame of time, or like I say, the bots get it,
It's
and you'll have certain segments of your stream muted, right?
okay.
Which then renders it useless at that time, right? So
Hmm.
that's the difference between IG and Twitch. I don't think this whole Twitch DJing thing is going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I've really found myself in it. I've grown so much, not only as a person but as a DJ. Like it's really built up my confidence, right? Because I never thought I'd be standing in front of a camera in my home DJing for a crowd, and let alone weekly. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
can't. There was a point where I didn't know how I would come up with next week's show, right?
Yeah.
And just trying to find content, not trying to play the same song.
Hmm.
You know, Obviously I'm going to repeat songs, but I didn't want to play what I just played last week.
Of course.
This week type of thing. So I had to start bouncing around with different genres, and I started playing R&B. I started playing like old school funk. I started playing even reggae, lovers rock,
Yes.
foundation, things like
Yeah.
that. Even some groovy soca, soulful house, just as long as it was smooth for easy like Sunday morning, right? So I just try to keep it funky, and it got to a point where I put a lot of pressure on myself to do that each and every week.
Yeah. It
And I
gets
had
hard, man.
to, yeah, I had to just kind of allow things to be and just say, look, you have these people that are waking up, looking forward to this. Just do it for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of I grew from that. I released all that fear. And I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this as much as they are, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't worry about the music as much. I
Mhm.
literally would wake up, and however, if it was rainy outside, I'd
Mhm.
start the stream with songs with rain in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd receive messages from people all the time and say, Che, I'm not really having a good weekend. Can you play some soca for me today? Yeah, sure.
Hmm.
And that's literally how I run the show at this point, right? Once
Yo,
in a
man.
while, I have a couple ideas where I want to, stick to a certain theme, but
Hmm.
generally speaking, yeah, I just let it kind of flow, week to week.
I appreciate that, man. And two things. You build up that loyal audience too, right? That tune in. And
Yeah.
it's so nice when you shout people out too. Like I've been shout
Yeah.
out on your show before, and it gives you a good feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people, people want to know, people want you to know that they're there supporting you. You know what I
Right.
mean? And um, they have something as we call lurkers, right? And those are people that are not necessarily active in the chat,
Yeah.
but they are still beneficial to the stream, right?
Right.
And they are there and they are doing things like I have people that will take pictures of them cooking or cleaning as they're listening to me, and I'm on their TV at home, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
such a weird thing where they send me pictures and I'm like this big on their wall, a 56-inch TV, and I'm sitting there DJing. It's a weird feeling, trust me. But
True. True.
yeah, you want to shout out those people, you know what I mean? Because everyone wants to be recognized in some capacity, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes I'll even just go through the users list and I could see everyone that's in there
Okay.
and I'll just call them out. But then there's a certain bit of etiquette when it comes to it. Some people don't want others to
Oh,
know that they're there, right? Essentially. So I stopped doing that, right? If you're in
yeah.
the chat, I try to see your name and I'll, as many times as I see you, try to say something to you, what's up?
Mhm.
How are you doing? Big shout out, blah, 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 blah. It keeps people interested, and that's the whole thing with this whole virtual world that we're living in now.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of people that are listening to DJs on Twitch aren't necessarily club people.
True.
You understand what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, these are people that maybe never went to the clubs.
Hmm.
Their party might have been going to their work party or going to a wedding or something like that. They never really went to the club. Now you've kind of brought the club to them,
Right.
and they're eating it up. They're loving it, right? So yeah, you gotta big up the people when you see them, and keep them involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And I seen your growth and your progression. I
Yeah,
remember like one of your first lives,
yeah,
and you were concerned about the lighting and the sound. And
yeah,
DJ Carlos also was chatting to you
yeah.
about certain
Making
things.
fun of
Yeah.
me for sure. Yeah,
But
because my
now you're,
voice and everything, right? He's like,
oh yeah, your voice too.
you
Yeah.
sound like you should work at a funeral or something like that. A funeral home. I'm like, man, shut up. I'm trying to do my thing, man. Enough pressure on me, anyways.
Your inspiring messages on Instagram, your stories and the pictures, they're so captivating. What
Yes.
inspires you to take some of those nice shots you have or those messages that you post? Where did that come from?
I am the person I am, not only because of the way I was raised,
Hmm.
but as I've, had kids, raised a family,
Hmm.
um, been in love
Hmm.
several times. Things like that have all built me to be who I am right now at this time. So my Instagram account, that has grown tremendously too, and I'm always conscious that my kids are on my Instagram, and I've
Right.
never wanted to put anything out there that I wouldn't want them to see, right? So I stick as much as I can to like the positive stuff, right?
Right.
And a lot of people throw out, self care stuff, self healing stuff. I don't necessarily post that stuff. I do here and there, but not too much. I never want to seem like I'm preaching.
Yeah, I get
But
it.
some of the stuff I post about is stuff that I feel or resonates with me.
Hmm.
And then sometimes I post for things for others because I
Okay.
know a friend or two. If I know you're going through something, I might just post it, not even tag you.
Hmm.
But sure enough, I know you're going to see it, and then you might hit me and say, "You know what, Jay? I needed that," and I know, right? Because I
Yeah.
know what you're going through. So I've always tried to stay on the light side of things, and see. I continue to want to see the beauty in the world, even through the madness. You understand?
Hmm.
I don't want to focus on that. Like I don't watch a lot of news because of that reason too, right?
Yes.
I
Hmm.
pick and choose what I absorb
Hmm.
uh, through media. You know what I mean? So that's just really who I am, right? So I like I say, I like to keep it light and like they say, love and light to you, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I really like to push out.
And
Um,
there was one Instagram post about light. I don't know um the
I'm
quote,
always right.
but I'm
Well,
gonna put it up. So
I and that's what I've started doing most recently. I just at work, I go out on my break and I just look at the sky, and even if there's clouds, I just take a picture of the clouds and the sun trying to battle through the clouds sometimes, and it's amazing some of the pictures you can get if you just focus on the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
And I do that once in a while. Well, not once in a while. I do it as many times as I could see that sun peering
Mhm.
through. I'll take a picture of it in
Yeah.
the mornings and send that.
Crazy.
Throw up my little soul fresh under it, right? My
Yeah.
logo as well. So
That's like a metaphor for life too, man. The sun battling
absolutely,
through the crowd, some of the clouds, some of the struggles that people are battling
yeah,
with internally, man. Trust me.
absolutely, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yo, this was going to be my last question. But since we're on this topic, what's your connection to Queen Students for Sick Kids? I remember I added that Instagram page.
Right,
Tell me a little bit about that, because one thing I want to do today, I'm doing this for charity. So you're going to
right,
pick a charity by popping a balloon,
right.
but I'm also going to donate to a charity of your choice. But tell me
Okay.
about that.
So basically, my daughter is a Queen's student.
Right.
She's finishing up her final semester there, and last year, her and her boyfriend had basically come up with this charitable foundation
Mhm.
uh, for sick children's. One of those reasons was because my daughter suffered from something called duodenal atresia when she was born. So basically, her bowel was not completely connected.
Okay.
So she spent the first like 2 or 3 months of her life at Sick Children's, right? So we've always been grateful for that, and we try to give back when we can.
Mhm.
Um, and I also did a fundraiser. I like to do fundraising
Mhm.
quite a bit, and I was also invited to spin at this big party called. Um, it's a bunch of Scarborough friends basically that just got together, and
Okay.
we're throwing an old school party every year for the Ronald McDonald House Foundation.
Okay.
Um, and they had some big heavyweights as DJs, starting from scratch. Dave Campbell, Carlos, DJ Night Rider, like a bunch of these guys, and it was a true old school party. Anyways, I think within 5 years of this old school jam,
Mhm.
um, they're able to raise over $200,000, which is
Oh.
crazy to think. But yeah, I was in 2019. I was
Mhm.
part of that once again with DJ Carlos,
Mhm.
and it was really like I went to my work
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, what do you
Yeah. Yeah.
got? What do you got? I
What do
know
you
you
got?
guys got a lot of fundraising money. It's the end of the year. Like, what do you got? And they cut me a check, man. And
Nice.
more people have to ask their employers,
Mhm.
because there's money allocated for just fundraising, and a lot of times it doesn't get used,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Your kid's soccer team might get a little chunk here or there, but there's lots left over, right?
Yeah.
So big shout out to my company. Not going to name them, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Cool. That's cool.
They helped me out with
Mhm.
that as well. But yeah, I mean, my daughter started that. I don't know if she's still working with it because she's
Yeah.
graduating very shortly.
Mhm.
However, I do have a charitable organization that I would love to donate to.
Okay.
I don't know how you want to go about that. If you want me to mention their name, I can.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead. Yeah.
um, so I have a friend who's very active in the Twitch community. She actually is a big supporter of all the DJs.
Okay.
Um, and I'm open to say this because she has shared her story
Okay.
on Twitch, and now also has her own morning show that she does on Twitch.
I know it.
So
I seen this on your
her
page,
name
but go
is
ahead. Yeah.
her name is Mimi Kasimi is what her handle is.
Okay.
So Mimi Kasimi, basically, lovely, lovely lady who I've known for some years. We used to,
Mhm.
go out to the parties together and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I did not know what she was experiencing um, for a while. And basically, she was in a mentally and physically abusive relationship.
Okay.
Um, and the short and skinny of it is, she struggled for years with this, almost in denial, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it all hit her at once when she really figured, I need to get out of this relationship. She had hit rock bottom. And, the story is she lived out of her car
Wow.
basically for a while, sent her daughter to live with relatives,
Okay.
and was embarrassed, quite frankly, to ask anyone for help.
Mm-hmm.
And she hit rock bottom to the point she didn't have any employment, didn't know how she's paying the next bill, things like that, had nowhere to stay. And she joined a foundation basically that helped women get back on their feet that were basically down and out, whether they were in abusive relationships or just, didn't have employment and were almost homeless, just those really trying times, people that were going through things like that. So she joined this organization, and basically they help you get back on your feet.
Right.
So she now is doing extraordinarily well. And she's now started through that program
Mm-hmm.
one of her own called Up with Women.
Okay.
So that is a organization that I will be working with
Mm-hmm.
throughout this holiday season.
All right.
And I would love to choose that as my my charitable foundation for sure.
You got it. And that's what I'm going to start doing, because I have 3 charities that I donate to, depending on what's chosen,
Right.
because they have meaning to me. Some people were
Yes.
affected by these conditions, but we'll connect after the show so I know how to donate.
Absolutely.
But that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
proper. Nice.
Yeah.
Yo, Che, last question. You see what I'm wearing, right?
I see it. I see it.
Yes. So when did this start? What inspired the Soul Fresh clothing?
So DJ Che Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Soul good, soul fresh, soul clean is what my tagline was.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm an overthinker, right? So
Mm-hmm.
soul good would act as one aspect of the total package. Soul fresh would be another. So I always imagined having clothing. I always imagined having my own entertainment company,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I don't know about the Soul Clean, but anyways, Soul Good was basically the entertainment, the umbrella.
Yeah.
Soul Fresh was going to be the clothing, right?
Okay.
Now, I was using Soul Good at the beginning of the pandemic.
Okay.
And I was using the Soul Good, Soul Fresh, that type of thing, as another form of branding myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the Soul Good was working well. People loved it. And I had a promotion team out of Vancouver hit me up and say, "Hey, we have incorporated Soul Good, and
Okay.
you got to stop using them like now, right?"
Yeah.
So they provided all the necessary information, and I was like, "Look, man, this was late November 2020."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Look, I just spent this money on these flyers. I'm having a raid train for my birthday on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just make it through the end of December? And the guy was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, no, yeah, by all means." He goes, "This, start fresh."
Yeah.
And in 2021, just use something else. He goes, "If you want to use Soul Fresh, go ahead. I don't care, right?"
Yeah.
So I had to discontinue the Soul Good
Wow.
part of it. So I changed it to Soul Fresh.
Okay.
That was plan B.
Yeah.
And I've been rolling with it. And yeah, man, it's been going well, and I'm just basically using even love language.
That's what I
Pepper
wanted to ask
11.
about. Yeah.
I came off, dude, like I was tired today because I literally did a 6-hour love language, which is all slow jams, smooth grooves,
Yeah.
classic love songs. Like that's where I live as well, right? So I played from 8 till whatever 2 something last night.
Gosh.
Just straight. I opened a bottle of red wine. And,
Yeah.
people inside the chat are doing the same.
Yeah.
And we're just having some talks, some jokes, some laughs, and listening to some good music, right? So that's what I was doing last night. So I only got 2.5 hours sleep last night, right? Before I had to go to work.
Well, thanks for doing this too, man. Like,
Yeah, no worries.
mhm.
This is I call this, if you saw my post today, the sleepless elite, right?
Yeah.
They call people like myself that are functioning off of less than 5-6 hours of sleep, which the body needs.
Yeah.
And I've always been this way, since I've had kids. I never really get more than 5 hours per night. Even on the weekends where I think I could sleep in.
Mhm.
No, my body is this. It's on its own personal timer, man. It gets up when it wants, and it's just usually after 4 hours of me sleeping. I'm not to say I'm not tired, but I
Yeah.
just can't sleep. Right?
It's the same with me, man.
Yeah.
And I noticed as I got older, I don't
Yeah.
need an alarm clock anymore. It's like
Yeah.
5 o'clock and I'm up. Like,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah.
scary because sleep is directly related to the length of our lives.
Yes, yeah.
Right. So I'm like, what am I? I'm gonna pass out when I turn 51. You know what I mean?
True,
Yeah.
true.
Good Lord.
Oh, so Jay, are you still out? Are you going out there now? Like, they're loosening all the restrictions in Toronto. What's going on now,
I've
man?
played a couple private parties,
Mhm.
but I have not been out. I have not been out DJing for myself at an actual, as we call IRL, in a real life gig as of yet.
Okay.
I do have my birthday coming up,
Oh, I was just about to say that. December.
December 6th, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking of hosting an event, all in one, just under my umbrella of Soul Fresh,
Yeah.
and yeah, kind of pairing a holiday party, my birthday party, fundraiser slash club night,
Yeah.
out here in the East End. So working on that right now,
Okay.
and that would basically be my own first event, where I'm hiring someone else to DJ and things like that, right?
Okay. Nice, man. Nice to hear.
That is in the works. So I gotta see if I could pull that all together, in a 2-month span here.
And so do you like being busy then? Is that what I'm hearing too?
Yeah, I stay busy. My weekends are sometimes busier than my work weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't rest on the weekend, man. I don't. I really don't.
Man, nice. Always on the go.
Yep.
All right, Shay. So we've come to the point in the interview where I'm gonna show you 3 balloons, and
All
then
right.
you have to choose one for me to pop, and then I'll know what charity I'm donating to. All right, Shay, I'm gonna show you the 3 balloons, and you tell me which one you want me to pop.
We're going your right hand.
And the 6th charity Star Scorpio is donating to is wow, this is the first time.
Let me see. Alzheimer's. Yes. There we go.
Alzheimer's Society. Sweet.
That's another great one.
Yes.
I'd like to see all the charities that you actually have.
Yeah, it's 3. It's Alzheimer's Society, ALS, and
okay.
Canadian Cancer Society.
All right.
Okay, so Che, let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on my Instagram at DJ Chelasoul, CHELASOUL. And that's consistent across the Twitch platform as well. So twitch.tv/DJ Chelasoul. Those are my 2 main functioning as I'm still building my website.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on,
Yeah.
All this stuff takes time and money,
True. All right, Che, thanks for coming out this evening.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yes. Episode 6, Real Talk with Star Scorpio in the books, and we out.
Peace.